Hey, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and I'm coming at you with a little bit of enthusiasm in the dark times here. We have a new MMO that is no longer new, no longer exists. It's shut down. That's going to be Chronicles of Elyria. So the development studio, Soulbound Studios, is actually shuttering. They are just closing down. That's it. So Chronicles of Elyria is apparently canceled. Now, there was actually this open letter that addressed, I guess, kind of where they came from, what they went through, and then the eventual failure of the Kickstarter and the development of this game. But look, I'm not gonna read or quote any of that bullshit because it really reads like a sob story. It really reads like bullshit to me. And you know what? I'm just not a fan of Kickstarter MMOs in the first place. I love their ideas. I think we all do. But I'm not gonna spend money on just ideas for a games as a service that needs to, it needs to actually come out and then have updates. It needs to consistently be a thing before I spend any money. Before I'm convinced to spend any money. But a lot of people, they buy the dream, right? I mean, you literally are buying the dream. And the problem with that is you are incentivizing developers to do basically what happened with Chronicles of Elyria, is you use a bunch of purchased, I guess, like graphics, animations, and you just do like this. God, you do, and what you're going to see in the gameplay, a lot of the footage is going to be just like panning shots of landscapes, just simple sort of screenshots of characters, and it's like, oh look, it's a medieval fantasy setting. Here's a dragon, but it's not like they're really making a game. It's not even like they have any of the true features built in. And even if you look at the fight scenes, they're specifically animated or choreographed to look and feel a certain way, and that's going to be for all of these games. But it's really all just bullshit. And when you spend money and you look at these comments, oh my God, comments on YouTube channels like, oh my God, this game looks and sounds so cool. Yeah, it looks and sounds good because like they didn't really make this shit. And you can actually see this trend with a bunch of Kickstarter games where the very first trailer, this is really evident in something like Crowfall. The first trailer for a Kickstarter or Indiegogo, what they do is they hire like a production team, or they spend a lot of money on that first trailer because that is probably where they spend the most amount of money for development, right there. And that's where they get the most amount of money because they do one big trailer that looks like it could be something cool, and then you guys spend a lot of money to, maybe one day get that something cool, and you generally don't. It is very rare that a Kickstarter MMO actually takes off. But that's a bit of a myth, and it's a little bit toxic when people say that, oh no, Kickstarter MMO has done well, has taken off. I don't consider Temtem an MMO, but that is one game. It is a games as a service. Albion Online as well, and a few other titles have actually done okay. Like they're decent. They're at least partway founded by Kickstarters or Indiegogo or whatever, crowdsource funding, whatever. But overwhelmingly, it looks like, Ashes of Creation, Crowfall, Chronicles of Elyria now shutting down. It just looks like games either go in the wrong direction, they totally shut down, or they just never come out and they're just kind of lying to you. And really, that's the case always, all the time, forever. That's just how it has always been. The first trailer that you see and what they are promising on that website, it's all bullshit. They're just kind of being like, hey, this is like some cool ideas, right? Doesn't it get your nips hard? And then does it actually come to fruition or not? In the end, it doesn't matter because you gave them your money. Not only that, but almost every single time these games are not free to play. So normally these developers, they make a buy to play game, and that's how they kind of pay for all the development of what just, went past. That's how they pay for everything. But basically, you're paying for the development, and then you're also paying for the game. But at the same time, it's like the game's not even like coming out, or it comes out and it's like a total shit show, or it comes out and it's a totally different game than you expected. Ashes of Creation with the Battle Royale crap, right? And then, oh my God, what's going on with Camelot Unchained? They're making a whole separate game while still doing their... I can't believe it. Anyways, Chronicles of Elyria is shutting down, and the reason I'm kind of skipping over talking about this game is because I don't think there was anything special at all. It's just a game that had some purchased assets that made it look interesting. It had some cool jerk-off, circle jerk concepts like permadeath with characters that age. So it's supposed to be kind of like a fantasy or low fantasy simulation game. And it's really just like you could go on Reddit, and a lot of people love posting like my dream MMO. It's like they just took a bunch of those ideas that were kind of cohesive, put them together, and then bought some assets, made honestly, in my opinion, a shitty trailer, but you guys all ate it up, and they made a lot of money. Now, the reason that they're actually shutting down here is apparently they didn't have enough money, yet they should have. basically what happened with this game and many other titles is Navady, I guess. I mean, a lot of these crowd-funded games say that they have veterans in the industry. Well, if that was the case, then why are they all like bad games? Why do they just half the time not even come out? Or why do they constantly have no idea what the fuck they're doing and have to change to, fit what the community actually wants or whatever? I hate that. Honestly, at this point, let's just get some brand new faces in there. Like, if you guys ever wanted to make an MMO, fuck it. Buy some assets on Unity and start it up. Let's go. Realm of the Mad God, beautiful example of a cheap, easily done MMO that is one of the most popular games out there. No, seriously, it didn't take millions of dollars to make that game. And yet, has it made millions of dollars? Yeah. So, games like Chronicles of Elyria and Ashes of Creation, they're a bit ambitious, but it seems like they can make it come true because that first trailer. But then, every other thing afterwards it's all just kind of a lot of bullcrap. So this game, I was looking forward to it. I did put it on a lot of list videos. Slowly, it crept down my list, and that's actually been the case, and I have specifically mentioned that about Crowfall and a number of other games like this, where it's like, the first trailer, I'm like, oh, this is my #1 upcoming MMO, and then it crawls down. I do other list videos, so I'll do like Sandbox MMO, or Voxel Crafting MMO, or Hardcore PvP MMO, so sometimes they do get into multiple lists, and then they'll go from 1 to 2 to 3 to like bottom of the barrel. Like, okay, well, it might eventually come out, maybe. There's technically only 10 games coming out, so it has to make the list. And it's making me pretty cynical. I'm pretty cynical already, but I'm very cynical about pretty much any of these games now. I think the only game that I can come close to saying I'm looking forward to truly, and like will probably play it sincerely, is Amazon's New World. And that's just because I actually played it twice. I actually played it. I've seen what their development cycle is like. And even then, I'm very worried. And I should probably do a pretty toxic video on it again, as it wouldn't be the first time. But anyways, Chronicles of Elyria. So it's shut down, and if you actually read the letter, it's really tragic. So if you guys don't know, a lot of these companies use Kickstarter kind of not the way it's supposed to be used. They kickstart to fund the development, but not really. It's really just to show that people are interested in the game. So that's what Chronicles of Elyria did, and many other titles, is they have a successful crowdfunding campaign, and then from that successful campaign, they kind of show investors. It's like, hey, we got people who are interested in this game, give us money. And so basically, even if it is a successful crowdfunding, it doesn't mean that they're successfully going to get more investors after that. And that apparently was the case. And that might sound like a sob story, but basically, I'm just going to blame like whoever was the lead for this team who actually budgeted everything. They basically ruined this game. It wouldn't be the first time, even for non-MMOs. Games like Gigantic was a game that was a good game. So I'm not saying all these games are shit, but there are good games out there that have development woes. They take too long to come out. They don't have a smart enough monetization scheme. Even a successful game like Albion Online had to go through drastic changes, even after successfully crowdfunding part of itself. And it launched buy to play, or it was supposed to be free to play, and then a mobile game, and then it's like, no, we're gonna be a PC buy to play game, and then it's like, no, we're gonna be free to play. Now that it's free to play, with many updates, it's actually good, but not every game gets that opportunity. So really, you need it. If you're going to crowdfund, you got to be open and honest. And not only that, but I'm just going to say this, end of the story. I don't think crowdfunding works for games as a service, really. Unless they are completely open and just stagnant or hard set on a monetization scheme. If I do not see a monetization scheme, like if it's like, it might be free to play, it might be AAA buy to play, and we don't know what the cost is going to be. No bullshit, I'm not going to fund it. Basically, what you need is, something like League of Legends or Overwatch. It was very clear immediately, hey, the game, it's going to be buy to play. You will be able to buy skins, and then everything else will be free. So League of Legends, it's you buy characters, there's skins, and that funds the continued development of the game. And that's exactly how it should be, because you need, for a MMO or games as a service, continued development. And so if you do a crowdfunded experience, Indiegogo, whatever, if you give them your money, which is sometimes hundreds or thousands of dollars, and by the way, those rewards are so bullshit. You can spend thousands of dollars for the opportunity to work on the game. That's weird. But anyways, oh no, the worst cases are the pay-to-win stuff, kind of like Star Citizen, or even, I think there's a couple other games where you can buy castles. Was that Chronicles of Elyria? I don't know. There's some games where you can buy castles and, you get your own plot of land early in the game, or yeah, you can buy early into games. That's all pay to win and bullshit. I don't like that. But you give them your money, which is a lot of money, for the hope of maybe the game coming out, and they have no incentive to really deliver on those promises. They got their money. So even though this is like a failure, Chronicles of Elyria is shutting down, the development studio is shutting down, they got paid, they made money, they had a job for a year or years, and yeah. So one thing that, okay, one last thing to end the video, and this is why I kind of hate this game and why I don't want to like talk about it or what it could have been, is because in the letter, they were talking about how maybe the game might not be dead. It's possible, because some people who were working on it for money, they said that they maybe will work on it for free, maybe possibly. Or it's possible that they're going to remake it as a game called Kingdoms of Elyria. This is something that happened with Life is Feudal, where they made multiple versions of the game before the MMO. This is kind of the reverse of that, where the MMO failed. So maybe we can, actually, it's probably more apt to say it's more like Kingdoms of Amalur, which was, am I even saying that right? That was supposed to be an MMO, and then they turned it into a non-MMO. So that could probably happen here. Maybe it'll be a single player game. Maybe it'll be like a PvP arena game, you know, kind of like Mordhau. They could do stuff like that. They could, you know, take their assets of what they've made and do something with it. But the uncertainty actually of that, of like, oh, maybe it could be something else, it leads me to believe that really they didn't do shit. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that the artists or whatever, or the people who were truly working on this game, didn't make stuff and things. I'm just saying to a meaningful degree. No, I think this game was very poorly managed. And if they can't even certainly say, oh, we can just quickly make this into an arena fighting game or something like that, the fact that they can't even say that, like, oh, we maybe might do something kind of if people work for free, that's really fucky, and I really don't like that. So they got handed out money from the community because they had a cool idea, and they did nothing with it. It was all fake promises, and hopefully this is, you know, a flag for everyone to see that this kind of stuff just doesn't work for MMOs. And yet you might notice that on Kickstarter, it is specifically MMOs are the ones that constantly get crowdfunded, that are constantly being promoted, that are constantly being talked about, because MMOs are all about the dream and the fantasy, and it's so sheer. It's just such a dream to think about and talk about and embellish. And that's how you make money on crowdfunding, is just embellishments and bullshit. You know, they sell dreams, and that's all an MMO is. So hopefully, you know, we could be a little bit more stingy with our money, or maybe possibly there's a different way to do crowdfunding, almost like some sort of subscription service that we could use to, you know, give money to developing games that need constant development, like maybe some sort of patronage system. Maybe a website could be called Patreon. Maybe that's how MMOs could be done. That'd be pretty great. Anyways, so am I ever gonna crowdfund an MMO or promote a crowdfunding MMO directly? No. Have I been asked? Yes. The thing is look, games as a service, they need to actually come out, and then after coming out, they need to actually run and have updates, expansions, things like that. There's no incentive if you just give them all their money before the game even fucking comes out. That's all I'm saying, guys. This is like the worst version of pre-ordering, and I know it sucks because there's some really cool ideas out there, but you don't need to spend your money on that. Just go surf Reddit, like my dream MMO, and then just jerk off to that. That's all you got to do. Anyways, guys, Chronicles of Elyria. Sorry I didn't mention too many details about the game, but it never came out, and it really just looked generic as fuck anyways, at least from what we did see. So the footage in the background was probably boring as hell. Even on their own YouTube page, it got massive dislikes, and it just didn't go well at all. So yeah, this game's shutting down. That's my thoughts and opinions. And if you like that, if you like hearing me talk, and that sexy voice, I know it's a little bit ASMR-ish, then you might want to subscribe, like, and all that good stuff, yeah? Okay, so peel some eyeballs on my Patreon, because I continue to do a service, I think. Maybe I'll service you, baby girl. So that's it. Much love. See you guys in the next one.